Freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome one and all. You're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. Always has been, is now, always will be, until the day we choose to end it. And here on What on Earth is Happening, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. Welcome and thank you for tuning in today. Today is Sunday, June 11th, 2023. This is episode number 276 of What on Earth is Happening. Please do be informed that What on Earth is Happening is cumulative information. So if you are a new viewer to the show, you should not watch the show from this point. You should go back to episode number 1 on my podcast page of my website, and you should listen and view the shows in order without skipping around at your own pace. And that is the way you will gain maximum benefit from this tapestry of information. We have a good show lined up for you here today. Going to be doing another call-in show, questions and clarifications on What on Earth is Happening today. Looking forward to taking your calls in a little while. I'm going to switch over to my slides and take care of some housekeeping first, and then we will go to your phone calls a little bit later in the show. Thank you, as always, to Will Keller for both producing the show on One Great Work Network and for the artwork in the form of the title cards he provides for me each week. Be talking about an event that Will is instrumental in putting together. Actually, 2 events that I am going to be virtually speaking at, virtually presenting at. I'll be letting people know about those in this housekeeping. We are still on a 2-hour format from January through June. I have confirmed, as long as everything is going okay in my life and my world, personally, I will be coming back in January with a 3-hour broadcast for next season that will be produced by my producer, Mike, and we will be setting up in a permanent studio here at my new location. This way, I will not be producing here, at the desk in my office. And we'll go back to like basically a full production with multi-camera angles and, me seated at a desk with my laptop and, Mike producing the show. So that's going to be next season of What on Earth is Happening starting in January. We only have 1 show left for this season. That'll be next Sunday, June 18th. After that, I will not be live on the air the last week of June because I'll be going out to the Pork Fest Festival in New Hampshire and checking that out. It'll be my first Pork Fest. I've been wanting to check it out for many years, but I finally decided to pull the trigger on that and head up there this year. So that is what's coming up next season of On What on Earth is Happening. And as I said last week, I will be starting next season with an extended version of Unholy Feminine, Neo-Feminism, and the Satanic Epi-Eugenics Agenda. And it will be Unholy Feminine, Extended and Enhanced Edition, where I will be delving into every aspect of that presentation that I delivered 7 years ago. I delivered that in early 2016, over 7 years ago, almost 7.5 years. It's amazing that time went by that quickly. But the reason I'm bringing it back out is I find, and this is what I want to talk to callers about today. Specifically, I would like to hear from callers on the topic of people who cherry pick what they want to understand about what is going on. This is a big pet peeve of mine. It's a really big annoyance factor where you have cherry pickers who will take a little bit of the information that they're comfortable taking, but then when you hit them with something that's uncomfortable to their worldview and their way of thinking and in the ways that they are actually still under mind control, then all of a sudden, whoa, let's take a step back. I have to view your whole body of work with suspicion because now you're attacking my religion, you see. And it's one of the reasons I'm going back and revisiting Unholy Feminine, because I find this highly to be the case regarding that subject matter. And I'm not incorrect regarding that subject matter. I actually work with the social engineers who are bringing about that agenda into our world. And boy, have they steamrolled it and just run roughshod all over the population. I mean, that entire body of work that I put together with Unholy Feminine, that I'm exceedingly proud of the job that I did explaining what's in that presentation for those who may not have seen it. It's basically the epitome of what people really need to understand that is dividing people the most, especially dividing men against women. And that is the quickest way to the breakdown of social cohesion in all of human society. And the work that I laid out there was literally, it was a feast of breaking forward, breaking out onto the population, the understanding of how these particular mind control techniques work, specifically as they are waged against the female population. And let me tell you something, I don't see any work out there that rivals it. None whatsoever. It's the most in-depth work on mind control that is specifically targeted against women in our society. And I have not seen any researcher or any person, period, put out the quality and depth of research and work that I have regarding that particular topic that amounts to what I call in that presentation epi-eugenics, and what I really should have termed and should really start calling it epi-dysgenics. Epi-dysgenics is what it really is. And if you don't get what that means, tune in starting next year where I'm going to break this down highly in depth. It's just something that I want to bring up regarding cherry-picking topics, because let me say this, to belabor this, and even if we have to cut into the call time, so be it. Again, because I didn't really plan on a whole lot of new material for this season, right? I've been handling personal things, quite frankly. I've been handling my life situation. My life was completely uprooted this year, forcibly uprooted by the state and by people who use the state as a weapon and a mechanism of theft, quite frankly, that are trash as human beings. Just absolute garbage swill of allegedly a person, allegedly a being. And everybody involved in that situation isn't even a human being. They're a piece of absolute verminous filth. So, I've had things stolen from me this year of my life. I've been forcibly displaced. And one could say it ultimately long-term worked out for the better because I'm in a better area, in a better property, etc. That's one part of it, but there's a lot of other factors that play into all of it, like the stress of having to literally uproot your life and move. The stress of then taking care of, fixing things that may not be working in a new place. The stress of organizing all your things again, reorganizing my whole work effort, having to reset up the whole operation of what on earth is happening in one great work network from a technical perspective. That's what I went through early this year. So I have not really even truly settled down from that. That's still ongoing. As I said, I want to put forward some original content for band.video, that network. And, I have to get all of my books still over here that are in storage elsewhere. So that's going to be a massive project that isn't finished yet. So, still a lot going on in that respect, which is why I decided I'm going to hold off on starting the 3-hour version of this show and let that wait until next season. And again, Unholy Feminine, I find, is one of the presentations that I did, and I did this back at Free Your Mind 4 in 2016 originally, researched this for many years, delivered it, got everything together within about maybe 4 or 5 months before delivering it, started outlining that and putting all the slides together. That presentation was so big that really it was even too big for that event. I mean, that should have been an all-day presentation, quite frankly. And I did it over 2 nights at Free Your Mind 4. And the response was tremendous, but I think it was not really deeply, truly understood by most people. And maybe when they hear the information again and see what has really happened and transpired in our society from a social engineering and mind control perspective, maybe people will start to see that information more deeply. Maybe they'll visit it with new eyes, with a refreshed mindset, that they'll really be able to hear what was said in it. And I'm going to break it down, like I said, much more highly in depth. And I had whole sections of that presentation that I literally left out. They were never, slides were never created for not a large portion of the outline, but a decent portion of the outline, like maybe another 25% or so. Because that would have really made it too long to deliver at the Free Your Mind 4 event. So I left out whole sections of my outline. That I was going to really go in depth in some areas of it that time simply didn't allow for, even though what it amounted to about a 5-hour presentation, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer than 5 hours, something like that. In any event, I found that the best reactions that I got regarding Unholy Feminine were from women, were from females. And they seem to really resonate with the presentation. The biggest opposition to the information that I put forward of my quote findings, and really what it is my experiences, because I helped these social engineers. I worked with them. We had discussions about things like this. The two things that the Satanists, that the dark occultists, the social engineers, however you want to refer to them, the people who are really in control of this planet, when I was among their ranks when I was a Satanist, the two things that they told me that they were going to devastate society on. I mean, they just openly talked about, wait until you see these things coming down the pike. You're going to shit yourself. You're not even going to be able to fathom the level of deception, the level of the engineering of the mind that we are going to put forward over the next many years. And the two things that they referred to were, number one, first and foremost, the New Age movement. They told me that they were going to present to the public the most drastically off-base forms of spirituality that were going to lead people into a total trap, believing that they had attained actual spiritual awakening, spirituality within themselves. And all of the characteristics of that false awakening, that false spiritual mindset, were just going to devastate the person's spirituality inwardly. And boy, oh boy, did these people fucking do it. Folks, I'm telling you, they annihilated people on this front. And there was very little resistance to it, because people did not have the psychic self-defense and shielding against it. They did not know it was coming, and they did not know what fucking hit them when it hit them. It blindsided them like somebody coming around from the back with a punch to your jaw, knocking you senseless from behind you. That's what happened. Okay? And that was number one. That they specifically talked very openly in close quarters, in private quarters, private sessions amongst each other. They said the false spirituality that we're going to hit people with is going to be like an absolute atomic explosion right in their face. And they did it. They didn't talk about it. They went out and did it because they had access to all the publishing houses. They just had people with a million different pen names and fronts and organizations write those books, put all those books out, those audio books, those DVDs, those tapes, and they just absolutely ruined people's mindset when it comes to what real spirituality is. Devastated it. The number two thing that they talked about that they said was coming down the pike a little bit later was, wait until you see how we transform women in society. And all you got to do is look around at the woke community. All you got to do is look around at the entire neo-feminine agenda. If you're paying attention and if you're honest with yourself. And most people aren't doing either thing. Most people aren't truly paying attention, and most people are fucking lying to themselves all day long, every day, nonstop. And they cherry pick what they want to hear. They cherry pick what they want to believe is true. They say, oh yeah, this I'll take, but oh, this, I'm holding on to that mind control. I refuse to look at that. I refuse to accept that. This makes me uncomfortable. I'm not going to even watch that. Not all the way through. I'll watch it, and when I hear one thing that makes me a little uncomfortable that said, I'm out. And let me tell you something. I hear this more and more and more and more. I hear people that don't want to acknowledge that my research was spot on with all of that. That's why I'm going back to it, because I'm going to smash people's fucking face in it. I'm going to smash your fucking face in it, and that's all I might talk about all next year. I might do every show on this topic. We'll see how it goes, but until I'm satisfied that I've gotten it out there sufficiently, clearly, in depth, to the depth that I want, beyond the limitation of time that I would have at a live event, I'll do as many shows on it as I fucking want to do next season. Until I feel I've gotten the message across in the depth and clarity that I want to get it across, so that knuckle fucking heads start to understand. And you know, another thing that I've gotten, I have to say a couple of things here. And if this goes into a rant show, so be it, then it's a rant show. Okay? I want to tell people two things have been happening this year. One, I see a lot of resistance to cherry picking things that I've talked about that I'm not incorrect about. And people will say, oh, Mark, you're so right about all this other stuff, but this one little thing, that interferes with my worldview and my religious belief. And when I mean religion, I'm not talking about Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, all this shit. I'm talking about the block in your brain. I'm talking about the things that you still have mind control and social engineering going on up in the thick fucking noggin over. That you want to cherry pick things and say, you're right about all these other things, Mark, and you're so in-depth and knowledgeable about all this shit. But, oh, this one thing over here, that just interferes with something that I've just believed in my whole fucking life because the social engineers actually gave me my thoughts on that. That's what it really is, assholes. That's what it really is. That's all it ever was. It's all it ever is. The social engineers implanted something to make you think a certain fucking way that then you believe is your own thought. And how many people in this community are still locked into that modality of consciousness? The vast, overwhelming majority can't lose their religion over certain things. And when I say losing your religion, I literally mean losing your mind control beliefs, not the saying like you're losing your mind. You know, as the phrase "losing my religion," like that's what that means in slang. I'm talking about actually getting rid of a mind control technique that's been implanted into your mind by social engineers and Satanists and dark occultists. And this is one of them. This is one of the big sticking points where I got a lot of it. 7 years ago, I got better reactions to this entire field of endeavor than I'm getting today because let me tell you something. The social engineering has gone to work in people way deeper at a far more fundamental, deeper level. And it's so embedded in all forms of media. It's just entrenched. They have it so entrenched everywhere. And let me tell you, the people that understand it the least, men. Most of you guys are total fucking knuckleheads when it comes to this topic. You cherry pick it. You don't understand it. You don't want to fucking understand it. And even less than that, you want to do even less about it with your actions. That's the problem. Is that your actions haven't come forth and helped undo this state. You haven't helped to undo this conditioning. You've fallen right in fucking line with it, dumbasses. That's the problem. That's largely the problem, is that guys are the most resistant to this information. And the other thing is, you have guys that they go into this mode where I'm just going to believe that the problem is just that this is women's nature. And I'm going to then counter it with, I'm either going to drop out of society or I'm going to go listen to some dumbass fucking pickup artist and then use some NLP techniques that they teach me to what? Pay into the existing conditioning? Help to perpetuate it instead of undo it? You know what that is? That's a self-loathing fucking chump bitches approach to running away. It's a little fucking boy that says, I'm not going to actually tackle this fucking social engineering problem head on. I'm going to run away like a little bitch. That's what the guy's attitude about it is. That's what the dudes who are resistant to hearing what I laid down in Unholy Feminine are. So again, I'm going to talk about this till the end of this season, then I'm going to deliver it next season. I didn't start this season because time doesn't allow. But let me tell you something, you're going to be hammered the fuck with it until I feel that enough people get it. And I might not move on to another fucking topic. So that's coming up next season of What on Earth is Happening. Hopefully, people will be looking forward, and most of all, you'll clean the fucking shit out of your ears and your eyes and you'll fucking listen. Instead of being fucking cherry-picking dumbasses. And that's how I have to say it, folks, because you guys haven't fucking done a fucking thing. Almost all of you haven't done a fucking thing regarding that and getting up off your fucking lazy asses and getting involved in the fucking war that we're in. Speaking of which, this is one way you could do that. And guess what? It's not a sales pitch. This is how I really feel about it. I feel that most people are lazy fucking losers. You don't want to get up off your ass. You don't want to put any skin in the game. You don't want to get involved. You don't want to pay enough time. You don't want to pay enough attention. You don't want to spend enough time. You don't want to pay enough attention. The spiritual currencies that have to be fucking invested to get a return on your investment through actually making real world positive change in this shithole that we're living in. So if you want to stop being a ludtard and you want to stop being a lazy fucking loser, maybe you should sign up for How to Become the True Media. And guess what? If my attitude regarding this toward fucking people has made less people sign up, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say what I really think regarding people and their efforts, and most people's efforts have been total shit. Okay? So this is how to actually get a return on your investment. This is how to actually spend time and attention wisely, ludtard lazy ass. How to Become the True Media is a tech seminar that will teach you the skill sets and life lessons required to actually put skin in the game, to stop being a lazy fucking loser sitting on your fucking couch with your thumb up your fucking ass. All right? "23 weeks of class sessions is what this seminar is. It starts every Monday evening, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time from Monday, July 10th to Monday, December 11th, 2023, for a total of 23 class sessions. We are going to teach in this seminar everything someone technically needs to know to do something like this. To put together a video podcast, to put your voice out into the world and actually join the choir of truth, of speaking truth to power, to the absolute lunatic psychopaths who are running this entire world into the toilet. If you want to help undo that process, maybe you should learn how to take charge over media creation so that you could put your fucking voice out into the world and stop being a silent loser. You see how that works? When you actually invest time in creating skill sets for yourself, instead of going, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do that. I'm just stupid and I just don't know how to do that. That's not for me. I don't want to take the time to actually build any skills. I'll just keep being a fucking weak-ass loser my whole life." That's most people. That's most fucking losers out there. And that's the problem. They're the problem. They're not the solution. They're the problem. I'm not looking for people who are the problem. I don't want the fucking loser dross. I want the people who want to win, who want to be winners, who want to achieve freedom in our lifetime. Not some pie-in-the-sky bullshit of centuries to come or aeons to come. Freedom is achievable now if we want it badly enough. Most people are just too fucking lazy losers to want it and to go out and do it. Get up off your ass, lazy ass fucking losers, and do something. Learn something. Invest some fucking time and stop being a lazy piece of shit. What are people sitting around doing? I wonder, what are you doing with your fucking time? You're watching fucking Netflix. What? You're playing fucking video games. What the fuck are you doing? Get up off your ass and do something. Take this seminar and you'll learn how to do something. You won't be a weak-ass fucking loser going, "I don't know how to do anything." It's what you sound like, too. It's a very good impression, actually. You didn't know I was an impression master. Well, now you know. Yeah, it's exactly what you sound like, too. We're going to teach you everything from the basics of how to use an operating system on a computer, not the fucking imbecilic black fondle slab. Here's most people. "Oh, I'm doing something. Oh, here we go. I'm doing something. Don't you see? Wait. Let me post that meme to Facebook. I'm doing something. Can't you see? I got my black fondle slab." Yeah, that's doing something. Fucking imbeciles. Imbeciles. Pure fucking imbeciles. What we're going to teach you is actually how to use a fucking real tool Instead of being a tool, we're going to teach you how to use a tool. You know, like the Satanists have been using people as tools since time immemorial. We're going to actually show you how to do the right thing and use a piece of technology as it's intended, as a fucking tool to improve the world. All right? We'll teach you operating system skills. We'll teach you everything from how to start making a text outline. Very simple stuff. How to manage your files first and foremost. How to copy information, copy disks, copy files to other disks. Simple shit that everybody should already know how to do. How to make a basic outline so you can follow your thoughts and your progression of what you want to get across to people. How to make graphics, how to make presentations, how to make audio podcasts, how to make video podcasts, how to do a live streaming show, how to make a website. All of these things will be covered in How to Become the True Media. And not just the tech aspects of these things, folks. Again, this is what I've been trying to emphasize in interviews this year. It's not just the technical aspects that I teach as the conductor of this seminar. I am teaching life skill lessons. I'm teaching you how to invest your attention, how to invest your time. I'm teaching you how to build courage. I'm teaching you how to build persistence. How to follow things through instead of giving the fuck up like a loser gives up. I'm teaching you how to keep your energy and attention focused so you can actually learn something and then carry it out in the real world. Instead of saying, that's too hard, I'm giving up. This is what people generally do because they were taught that way by their imbecilic parents. They were taught, if that's hard for you to do, sweetheart, just put it down and go move on to something that's easy to do. Instead of them building fucking character in their child and saying, try harder. Spend more time with it until you master it. Have persistence and patience. Don't give up. Never give up. No, how many parents have instilled that in a child? No, that's okay, sweetie. If that's too hard for you to do, just put it down. You'll be fine. You can just go on and do something else that's much easier for you. And you're making your kid weak and fucking soft. You're making them soft. You're not making them soft. Soft is not a bad thing. Soft, however, is an extremely bad thing to turn a fucking child into, and then they're going to become a soft adult. And we got way too many of them walking around. That's why we're enslaved. That's why the human condition is slavery, because most people are just fucking soft. It's one of the worst things that could ever be said about any human being. And that's the problem. Is we've got a bunch of soft-ass motherfuckers walking around. If you don't want to be a ludtard, if you don't want to be a lazy ass sitting on your fucking ass with your thumbs up it, if you don't want to be a unmotivated, undriven loser, maybe you want to join How to Become the True Media. How's that for a sales pitch, guys? You think I'm really telling the truth about what I feel about fucking people out there? All the ludtards who are sitting on their ass doing nothing. Watching somebody like me who's been doing this for 16, going to be going on 17 years without lifting a fucking finger. You do it, Mark. You do all the heavy lifting. People making demands on the people who have done the most. Go fuck yourself. Go make demands on your lazy fucking ass and other people's lazy ass. Don't make demands on my fucking time. Shove that shit up your ass and spin on it. I've done more than enough for 1,000 fucking lifetimes, boys. All right? So go make demands on some fucking imbecilic loser weakling do-nothing's time, not mine. I'll do what I want when I fucking want. I've earned that privilege. I've worked hard to say I can do that. And yeah, it is a double standard for other fucking people because they've done shit. And that's how I'm just going to say it, just fucking like that. And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. So, if you want to learn how to actually put the truth out there like a fucking strong person, like a fucking person who is motivated and driven to actually do something and create some positive real world change instead of a weakling fucking soft loser, join How to Become the True Media 2023. There's my sales pitch. Take it or leave it. Whoever I get, we'll see if they're the dross or if we'll see if they're the actual people who are driven and motivated to actually change the world for the better. If you're interested, howtobecomthetruemedia.com is the website. You can get the course curriculum, the basic course curriculum there, and you can hit the Enroll Now button to actually sign up to enroll for this year's How to Become the True Media 2023 seminar. I'll be delivering 2 masks, same face, an all-day presentation, the dark occult origins of Nazism and communism, just 2 masks of the same worldwide dark occult religion. And if you don't think so, you're a very, 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 very fucking dumb person. Here's another one that I get a lot of feedback and resistance to. You think Nazis and communists are the same thing? Yeah, jackass. Yeah. It's all dark occultism and Satanism. They're the political factions of the religion of the dark occult, the old religion. And if you still haven't figured that out yet, you're some dumb, naive, chump child. Well, come and learn about it from a historical perspective. I'm going to present so much information in this all-day presentation, it is going to blow people's minds. I'm going to expose all of the occultists, all of the individuals, all of the groups, all of the secret societies, all of the fraternal brotherhoods, etc., and political groups that were occultically driven, occultically organized from their inception, and actually created the alleged political parties of Nazism and communism, which are actually religions. They're actually 2 faction religions of the same root religion, which is Satanism. So this presentation is going to be all day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We will have lunch and dinner breaks in between. But 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on October 21st, 2023. October 21st of this year at the Exton Hotel and Conference Center. Now, folks, I just want to tell people, I took a ride over with my friend Jeff Hippoff, who I interviewed earlier this season of What on Earth is Happening. He helped procure the venue for this presentation. And we took a ride over there for me to see and inspect the whole layout of, what it looks like at the Exton Hotel and Conference Center. It's a beautiful place, beautiful hotel, really nice facilities, great place indoor and out, and the conference room is beautiful. We went and inspected everything, took a look at, how things are going to be laid out, floor plan wise, what I'm going to need tech wise. We went and did that this past week. What we're going to do is we're going to block out some hotel rooms. We're going to arrange for the Exton Hotel to have a block of hotel rooms. And hopefully I can announce that next week. We don't have that arranged yet. If you tell them that you're going to be coming for this as of possibly next week, give me one more week to just let's get that arrangement in place. You will probably be able to get a discounted rate. Right now, that is not currently in effect. We're looking to put that in effect over the next week. So, in any event, it will be taking place October 21st, 2023, Exton Hotel and Conference Center in Exton, Pennsylvania. It is a $60 per invite private donation if you want to come in person. This is not an online event. This will not be online. This will not be streamed. This is an in-person event only. And it is $60 per invite private donation to attend in person. Do not just send that. You have to go on gifts.whatonearthishappening.com or just visit whatonearthishappening.com. You can click the banner. That will take you to the gifts item. You could choose how many invites you want and follow through the checkout process there to send your donation to attend Two Masks, Same Face, The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism in person in Exton, Pennsylvania, October 21st, 2023. Tickets are available right now at whatonearthishappening.com. Please don't just send a donation in for this. Go to What on Earth is Happening, click through the banner to gifts.whatonearthishappening.com, and that is where you make your invite donation. You put the amount you want in the basket, you check out, you make your donation, and then you'll be confirmed that you could attend in person. Tickets are available right now and will be right up through the time when we sell the 300th invite, when we offer the 300th invite to a person who makes a private donation to attend. Funnel 3 coming at us very shortly. Later this month, June 24th and 25th, 2023, Freedom Under Natural Law Conference. This is the third one. I will be one of the guest speakers, along with many, many, many other great individuals presenting. This year's focus is the trivium of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. My presentation this year will be entitled The Real 7 Deadly Sins. And I'm going to be presenting that from the perspective of understanding that through the trivium process. The real 7 deadly sins, the true transgressions against natural law, as opposed to the false 7 deadly sins of what religion presents us with as sins that are actually vices, not actual sins / crimes / transgressions against natural law. That'll be my presentation for this year's Funnel 3 conference. You can check it out at freedomundernaturallaw.com. Really looking forward to participating in this great online event. Later this year, Seed 5 Metamorphosis, September 23rd and 24th, 2023. I will also be a virtual presenter at this great online event. Lots of other great speakers attending. So I will be presenting at this conference the critical role of technology, the inseparable role that technology has in human freedom, and why it is so important to understand and utilize technology to espouse the philosophy of human freedom and actually bring the condition of human freedom into a manifested resultant condition in our world. I haven't come up with an official title yet, but it will be something to the effect of the critical role of technology in human freedom, something to that effect. I'll work that out and come up with an exact title very soon, but that is what I will be delivering at Seed 5 Metamorphosis this September. Check it out. Going to be a great online event. And I believe the website for that is seedtruth.com, if I'm not mistaken. Seedtruth.com, I believe, is the website. The One Great Work Network, running strong. Lots of awesome content creators, over 70 in fact. OneGreatWorkNetwork.com is the website. Of course, What on Earth is Happening, while I broadcast on Sundays from January through June, is simulcast on the One Great Work Network. Check it out. Please remember to donate to all of the great content creators on the network. This is an entirely voluntarily driven network of content creators. There is no fees, no sign-ups, no joining anything. It is just entirely free. So it's run on your voluntary support donations. So please be generous to the great content creators on One Great Work Network. I have a channel on band.video. I will be adding to it. I have not done that still this week. I know I've been saying I'm going to do it. I'm going to post the third natural law video installment. And then again, later this year, I will be doing exclusive content on band.video from right here in my new place. And again, I believe that's going to be in my reading / library room. that I'm going to set up with all of my books. Again, I need to make that a project that I dedicate my time to over the next couple of weeks, and just go and take them out of storage, bring them here, set them up. It's going to be a pretty big job, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to that, because books should not be in boxes. They should be out for people to read, to explore, to research using, and it's been a kind of a travesty that the bulk of my book collection has been in boxes for the better part of a year. I am going to go and liberate those and put them where they belong, organize them really nicely, so I have a nice reading library here. And that's where I'm going to do some exclusive Band.video interviews. And I think I'm going to run them like, again, fireside chats. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I'll come up with a name for it. And, we will have in person, in a nice, subdued, light environment where we just sit and have a talk, in my personal reading room here, where we discuss everything. And I'm going to make it like again, I said this before, it's going to be like a conversational flow as opposed to like a formalized podcast. I really want to make it like just sitting down with somebody and having a discussion like I would in personal life. So that's coming up hopefully later this year, if not early next year. But I'm thinking like maybe after Two Masks, maybe in the later part of the year, I'll start those exclusive similar to a fireside chat discussions on Band.video. We'll see how things go, if not certainly next year. Don't Tread on Philly, second Wednesday happy hour is coming up this Wednesday. Okay, so this Wednesday, what's the date on that, folks? Let me just grab my calendar here. Yeah, this Wednesday is going to be June 14th. June 14th is the next meetup of Don't Tread on Philly. It's going to be taking place in South Philly, like it does the second Wednesday of every month, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Dive, which is on East Passio Avenue in the Bella Vista section of South Philadelphia. D-Top Happy Hour on the second Wednesday of the month is always free to attend. For more information, you can visit don'ttreadonphilly.com, or you can go to Don't Tread on Philly on Facebook. That is where we have all of the events that people can basically sign up and get notifications for. The day after the second Wednesday is the third Thursday documentary movie night, Inquire and Inspire. Every third Thursday of the month, 6 to 9 p.m. at Arnold's Family Fun Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. A hop, skip, and a jump from where I'm at. I generally attend these every month. This month will be no exception. I'll be there this coming Thursday. Looking forward to a great documentary showing and discussion. For more information, visit inquireandinspire.com. The What on Earth is Happening IPFS project is still ongoing. If you're interested in helping to make my information censorship-proof online through the IPFS network, which stands for Interplanetary File System, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS. And you do require 200 megabits per second minimum in the upstream direction to run an IPFS node, an official What on Earth is Happening IPFS node. If you do have that, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS, download the PDF document with the preliminary requirements and instructions, and see if the What on Earth is Happening IPFS project is a good fit for you. To the people who have participated, we've gotten 4 nodes up and running. Thank you. I will be continuing to make sure that those nodes are running efficiently. I will be getting back into that as well, and then setting up some more nodes by the end of the year. This show is a call-in show, so in the next couple minutes we will be going to your calls on the Telegram platform. If you want to join us via call-in, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/call to join our Telegram call-in group. ARC 2.0 still available and will be available in perpetuity. People always ask me, do you still offer the ARC? Yes, I do. It will always be offered as long as What on Earth is Happening is continuing. The ARC is an offer for you to send me a 2 terabyte storage device, whether it be a hard disk drive or a solid state drive. And I fill it up with over 26,000 audio files, over 9,500 books, and over 3,400 digital videos from my own personal archive of research and data that I have collected from the internet over these many years. And I then ship it back to you. WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com/ARC is the URL. You sign up on the form there, and then you can download the PDF document that will give you the shipping instructions. The shipping instructions are rigid to protect your property and, quite frankly, to protect my time from running around doing all kinds of crazy shit with shipping companies, because people in the past have screwed up every aspect of sticking a drive in a box and sealing it up that you could possibly screw up. So I made a document that explains how not to screw it up. It's very simple. Please be respectful of it and just follow the shipping instructions to the letter, and there'll be no problem with your drive going round trip from you to me and then back to you with the data on it. If people do fuck around with the shipping instructions, I'm going to be very rigid in not sending the data to them. And, I just want to say that because I feel like this is a test of respect and intelligence, quite frankly. And it's not hard. It's like a kindergarten test, okay? I mean, this is stuff that, like every human being, this should be a life skill that you could just do in your sleep, okay? You read it, you realize, okay, here's what to do and not do. He doesn't want these things done for a specific reason because it causes problems. Just don't do those things. Just, go along with the instructions because you respect me, my time, my work, and you respect the data that I'm going to send you, because a lot of this stuff is censored. A lot of this stuff isn't online anymore. I've archived it offline and give it to you so you can research offline. I think it's a pretty sweet deal for following some shipping instructions, quite frankly. So, if you want to take me up on the ARC offer, whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. You won't regret it. And people have written to me amazed at what is on this storage device when I send it back packed with the ARC data. I know and they know they'll have enough material to chew on for the rest of their lifetimes with proof of what is really going on this planet. And you will get the whole worldview. Like I say, the ARC is about getting the whole picture. It's about stopping cherry picking what you want to cherry pick, and it's about really waking up all the way because you have all the grammar. You have all the first aspect of the trivium without which you can't go any further. You don't start making decision-making processes which should be logical unless you have the grammar in hand first. And that's part of the problem, folks. Part of the problem is most people don't have the grammar in hand. They don't have the information in hand in its fullness, in its richness. They cherry pick here and there and here and there what they want to learn, what they want to understand. And then if it doesn't fit in with my existing worldview, whoa, keep it away from me. See, with the ARC, if you really delve deep into it, if you go way deeper into the depths of knowledge, if you're not just sipping from that fount of information and knowledge and you drink very deeply from it, the Pierian Spring, as it has been called in the famous poem, taking shallow sips from it results in inebriation. You're drunk on a little bit of knowledge. And this is most people. This is the problem, folks. People have enough knowledge to be very fucking dumb. The problem is to be very intelligent and truly driven to do something and change things. You have to have the whole picture. You have to have all the knowledge that you need. That doesn't mean you have to have all the knowledge. You have to have all the knowledge you need. See, there's a big difference between claiming to know everything and claiming to know everything you need to know to address a particular condition and or situation. Let me say that again because it's profound wisdom, actually. If you clean the shit out of your ears and really listen to what I'm actually saying here. See, this is why I don't believe in this new age bullshit of saying, oh, I'm so humble. Oh, I know that I know nothing. Stick that shit up your ass. That is the biggest crock of bullshit anybody could ever fucking speak. And it's nonsense, and it's not spiritual. And guess what? Maybe in some people's fucking case that might be true, but it's not true in my case, so I ain't gonna fucking say it. Because saying that would be a lie. I know quite a bit about quite a bit. Definitively know it. Not belief, not a claim. I know that I know it. And you can know that you know something. Epistemologically, through the trivium. It's the process of coming into how do you know that this is true? Ontology has to come first. Nature of reality-based stuff. Nature of consciousness. Then epistemology. What constitutes knowledge? And how do you know that that is the truth? Versus falsehood, illusion, constructural ideas that only exist in the mind. The trivium is that delineator. The trivium is that truth discovery methodology. And most people don't have it in hand. And the reason they don't have it in hand is because they skipped or are incomplete in the first step, which is enough knowledge. They're cherry pickers. That's the theme for today's broadcast, in case you haven't gotten that, boys and girls. The theme is cherry picking. If you understand what that means, it means I'm going to take the shit that I'm comfortable with, and I'm going to fucking leave the rest on the back burner. Even though I really do need to understand that to get out of the fucking mind control that I'm under. And let me say this wisdom, if it's heard properly, again. I don't claim that I know everything. No person should claim they know everything, that they have all the knowledge in hand. Nobody's ever going to have all the knowledge about everything in hand. That's impossible. What I'm claiming to have in hand is I know everything I need to know to solve the problem of human fucking slavery. And the problem is, other people don't have that knowledge in hand. That's the problem. And you know what? Some people are starting to hear it. I'm getting some feedback from people who are telling me, and I'm going to be trying to do a better effort in communicating back to people when that they reach out to me and say, I couldn't hear what you were saying in the past, Mark. Couldn't even hear it. Couldn't understand it. I went back. I revisited it. I finally understand what you're saying. I finally get it. It's finally sinking in. It finally really makes sense. And I'm finally really beginning to transform my understanding of things. And that's encouraging. But guess what? It's very, very, very few people. Comparatively to what's out there, it's a piss in a pot. For the people that have done that, I'm going to do my best to try to communicate, encourage. Hopefully they'll move on and, act as a conduit to get this information out to others. And, I'm going to be reaching out to a few people and possibly even having some joint endeavors in the future. We'll see how this all works out. I'm not saying anything specifically, but we will see. I'll have to engage in some further communication. That's all I'll say about that for now. So, the Ark is getting that grammar in hand. You see, it's no longer cherry picking because you have all of the data that you need to understand to help you be a person of action that is going to actually assist in transformation of the human condition out of slavery and into true freedom. The Ark can be that if it's acquired and used correctly, but it will definitely give you the big picture if you seek it. If you want that big picture, oh, believe me, it's on the Ark drive. WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com/Ark is the URL. Visit gifts.whatonearthishappening.com for a great selection of hard copies of all of my presentations on DVD and flash drive. We have a tech donation section there. There's nothing in that right now, but I may be adding something. I may be adding another Mac Studio, which would be the third. I'm going to pick up the new Mac Studio. By the way, folks, WWDC 2023 was this week, and whoa, the hardware that was released and talked about was quite impressive. That I don't like them as a corporation, as a corporate entity, and I'm certainly no fan of Tim Cook, but Apple really does drive the tech innovation in our world, to be quite honest. And the new Apple Silicon Macs that came out were really impressive spec-wise. So I may be, I'm definitely getting one of the Mac Studios for a production of this very show next year. So my producer, Mike, will be working on an M2 Ultra Mac Studio. I'm going to probably max it out and pull the trigger on that when they get released on June 13th. But I'll definitely have one, certainly, by the time all set up and ready to go for next season of What on Earth is Happening. And I may put another one, donations for another one for my personal creative machine, right? So people helped me with lots of technology this year, and I want to take my time to really express my gratitude for this, because people helped me with an M2 laptop. This slide is coming into this show from my M2 based MacBook Pro that I'm going to present my upcoming presentations. The 3 upcoming presentations I have for this year will be presented on my M2 MacBook Pro, and I've already actually presented a presentation on it already this year when I went down to Perry, Georgia to deliver the presentation called Government is Slavery at the Georgia Libertarian Party convention down there. So I've already delivered one this year on it, and I have 3 more I'm going to deliver on it. My presentation at Freedom Under Natural Law, which is going to be on the real 7 deadly sins. My all-day presentation called Two Masks, Same Face in Exton, PA, coming up in October. And then in September, actually before the Exton event, my presentation on technology's role with freedom and how inseparable they are, coming up at Seed 5 Metamorphosis. They'll all be presented on the MacBook Pro M2 Max model that I got earlier this year through your generous donations. So thank you. Also, you guys helped me get the One Great Work Network Mac Studio that right now we're broadcasting through, right? So thank you for that. That was the first tech donation item. Then that was the second. That was the first, then the MacBook Pro, and now the other Mac Studio, which you see there, which is no longer up there in tech donations. It's just an image for the category. The donations have come in, and again, I'll be pulling the trigger on that probably later this week to pick that up for the What on Earth is Happening broadcast. I'm going to be moving that MacBook into my actual studio. Sorry, not MacBook, the Mac Studio that I'll be getting will be in my streaming studio that I've already put together. This is the last piece of the puzzle that really needs to go in place, is that Mac Studio that we've already gotten the donations for. So thank you to people who generously donated for 3 computers this year that I desperately needed. Without your voluntary donations, this operation doesn't continue. So I'll probably be putting another Mac Studio on the tech donations list. This is going to probably replace my very aging Intel iMac Pro, and I'm going to be using that as my creative studio computer, where I actually build my slides to deliver them on, a weekly broadcast like this or in one of my in-person presentations. So that'll be, one of the next tech items that I'll probably put in there in the next couple of weeks or so. We'll see. But in any event, visit gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. There's tons of items up there. Promotional t-shirts, stickers, buttons, keychains, coasters. I apologize. I did not have the coasters in my inventory. People were asking me about them. I actually got them few weeks back and neglected to put them into my inventory. They are now in the inventory, so people who have been wanting the new coasters, they are up at gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. But you could also get the One Great Work collection with all of my information on one solid-state drive. That's a popular item. All of my presentations on flash drive and DVD, my natural law documentary, and much more. The website for that, gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. Check it out. If you prefer instead to make a straight donation to the What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network causes, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/donate, where you could donate via tech donation. Thank you to the individual who procured a Stream Deck XL for the new What on Earth is Happening studio. Thank you so much. When I post tech items that are somewhat smaller, a little bit less expensive on the Amazon wish list, people have been exceedingly generous in picking those up, and quite quickly, as a matter of fact. So really thank you to the people who donate through the Amazon tech wish list. And again, someone generously picked up a Stream Deck XL for the new What on Earth is Happening studio this past week. Many other ways of donating: Cash App, GPay, Wise, 3 electronic payment methods, plus 9 cryptocurrencies that we accept for donations and for gift items on gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. And if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, we also accept personal check or personal money order, and you could write to us to get the address to send in donations in that way. The website, again, whatonearthishappening.com/donate. Thank you so much to everyone who has generously donated to this cause over the years. You guys keep this operation running, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Very appreciative, and coming at you with much gratitude for those voluntary donations over the years. That's all my housekeeping for today. I know I ranted a little bit in there, but so be it. Let's go to your calls. Give me a moment to get set up for that. Let's throw that there while I get this ready. Looks like we have a bunch of people waiting on the call-in group. Let me get my headset on to take your calls. I apologize for bumping the mic there, folks. My cable got a little twisted. All right. Let's see who's waiting on the line. Let's hear from Patty. Patty, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome. For everyone holding, please unmute yourself when I call on you. There you go, Patty.
Hi.
How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize I had my hand raised up, Mike. Mark Passio. I listen to you on a weekly basis, and I just wanted to say that I just greatly appreciate all of the information you've given me and have helped me understand my position. And I was literally in a satanic cult my entire life, from the day I was born until, I would say, a few years ago, I realized what was going on. And you woken me up, and one can be in a cult and not even realize it.
That's
and
right. That's exactly true. Yes.
Absolutely. And as far as the unholy feminine, I really want to elaborate on that, because it's what happened to me 7 years ago. And I was surrounded by facilitated social engineering, fake-ass friends that I believed in, who I thought were my friends, but were there only to deceive me. I was betrayed on an astronomical scale by everyone I knew, and not only was I heartbroken, but now I'm afraid. And so I've left everyone, I've cut everyone out of my life, and I've tried to start over. I've relocated now, and my ex-husband was fake. Everything was fake. My ex-husband was there to destroy me, and my friends were there to destroy me, to just completely obliterate me and my life that I worked so hard to accomplish and be successful, and everything just literally disintegrated before my eyes, and I couldn't understand the mind control I was in. And I've recently, I would say in the last year, through a lot of shadow work, have overcome and gotten to understand that I understand what the matrix is and how it, for everything that you shared with me, and that I listen to you when I can. I'll miss you when you're not around. Obviously, I know that you're going to go on a hiatus, but I believe I'm on 230 something now of your podcast. So thanks so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Patty. Great call. I really appreciate that, and I wish you all the success in continuing in your spiritual journey into awakening. So that's a very encouraging story, and I'm glad that you were able to see through those social engineering techniques, because they are, in fact, all around us. People are embedded in them, and it is a worldwide cult. And it takes immense spiritual strength to raise oneself out of it. So I am very happy that you were able to do that, and I, thank you for considering me one of the factors, at least, in assisting in that process for you. So thank you. Let's hear from Jacob. Jacob, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hey, Mark. I just wanted to say two things.
Sure.
So I recently got your ARC, and
Tell people about what you found with the ARC. I'm curious to hear from someone that recently got one.
There's so much stuff. Just the occult information on there alone. You could spend a whole year on, man. I'm reading through.
Let me ask you this. Can I ask you a question regarding the ARC? If you tried to assemble that yourself right now, how long do you think it would take you to even assemble something like that?
50 years. 50 years.
That's all I'm saying.
It would take 50 years.
I'm just saying that it's pretty extensive what's on there.
The fact that you're not charging serious money for that is I just wish I could teleport to you and shake your hand, and I'm just I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna through the air bend the knee to you.
No need to do that. I'm just glad you're working on researching that material on there and you have it in hand. Well, so thank you.
I just wanted to say one other thing. I was looking through some of the work of Jordan Maxwell on it.
What a beautiful man he was.
That guy is a genius. I wish I could have met him. It's sad what happened, but he mentioned a key detail that reminded me of your upcoming presentation, The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism.
Yes.
And he was explaining that the hammer and sickle, as well as the Soviet flag, is actually a dark occult talisman for the Roman. I think he said the Roman god Saturn and the Roman god Vulcan.
These cults were around back then. These cults have always been with us. The solar cult has always been around.
Around the Vatican, he was explaining that that Saturn, in the statue form, is always holding the sickle, and he represents time and wealth.
Right.
And in Vulcan was always a strong man in a statue holding holding the same type of hammer.
Right.
And he represents fire, metallurgy, and masonry.
Yes, exactly.
And in the Soviet flag, which is also what inspired Communist China's flag now, is actually from the Roman flag. That's a red flag with yellow text with the SPQR on it, the Senate and People of Rome.
Right.
I just thought that was I just when I made that connection, there's just so many things I'm learning.
We've been ruled by this worldwide
article.
cult since time immemorial. This is not a recent
Yeah,
thing. Tyranny
this
and
death
slavery
cult,
are ancient. They're ancient. You know, it's not like something that just came about in the last decade, century, even 1,000 years. It's been with us since we've existed on this planet. And you know, there's so much more depth, and there's so much more depth of the horror, which is what people cherry pick. They don't want to look at ancient civilizations that were far more technologically, had access to far more technologically advanced understanding and tools than we do, and they want to insist that no, that has nothing to do with the possibility of a type 1.5 or 2 civilization having been among us, having potentially actually genetically engineered us. They won't look at any of those things. And my question is, why? Why wouldn't that be possible? Why wouldn't that be a distinct possibility considering the wonders of our universe? Because someone's uncomfortable with it? Because they can't fathom the horror of what might have been created in the form of what they did to us? You know, this is what I mean by cherry picking and people's ego, you know, and they want to insist, oh, there's no such thing as other intelligences that have been here on this planet. And they want to just see it from a pure religious perspective too. Oh, they're just demons, you know. It's such a unidimensional...
We're under the dominion of it's not from here. I don't know what it is, man, but...
It's a confluence of factors that could be all non-terrestrial in some form or fashion, but
I think it's like invisible, non-terrestrial,
all of it.
You know, 1,000 plus IQ psychopaths, control freaks who have hijacked the minds of everyone. I don't care if it's teachers, bankers, just they've got them drunk on power.
I just find religious mindset is also one of the things that makes people cherry pick. It makes them say, oh, I'll look at this aspect, but as soon as you say something that, oh, my religion is somehow compromised, think about this. Every other worldly institution is compromised, right? It's just not their religion. Their religion remained pure and uncompromised over all the millennia, but everything else is compromised and corrupt. Just not the religion I adhere to. I mean, come on, people. You know, like grow up and end the unidimensional thinking on things. Just seeing things from a biblical, literalist, religious perspective. I mean, it's so fucking childish. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for people like that because they're too dumb to be embarrassed for themselves. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
And yeah, but more importantly, from the amount of information, it's what we do with it, and
that's right.
You know, there's nothing more scary to me than knowing that I have all this information and all these things, and to not do whatever the F it takes to end this matrix.
Thank you for saying that.
We have access to all of them, because, I mean, if I get to the end and I realize that I didn't do whatever it takes, I will know that I was a coward. And I think more people need to man up and admit that to themselves.
You know the good news of that, Jacob, is it's not too difficult to not allow that to happen. That power and responsibility is fully in your hands, and that ball is in your court, and it's not as difficult as anyone thinks to not make that scenario occur. You can easily make sure that you do take the required actions. It is possible with just a little bit of work. It's a little bit of habituation of certain habits and learning some skills. That's all it is. And then you'll get comfortable with it, and it'll be second nature to you. That's what I just tell people. Just begin, and you'll see how actually it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be, and it's easy to habituate it once you start. Are you still there?
And I'm still there. now that I know that, it's just it's just a matter of it's just a matter of getting the knowledge and skills and just doing it.
Right.
And I'm gonna take your how to become the true media course.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to having you in the course. So I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. You know, it's something that, you know, I think everybody who really understands what I put forward in this show on a weekly basis over the years can learn, can do. It's not outside of your grasp or reach. It's very attainable. It's a very attainable skill set. And, you know, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, at least I hope, with my skills as an instructor, you know, guiding you through the course material. So thank you for the call, and thank you for being a part of the seminar. I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. Let's hear from Rosanna. Rosanna, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hi, Mark. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Fantastic. Just wanted to thank you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
You've inspired me. It's been probably a year and a half that I've been listening to your podcasts. I'm almost up to where we are today,
Great.
as far as podcasts are concerned.
Awesome.
You asked a question last week with regards to what we're doing.
Sure.
With respect to kind of moving things in the right direction with the world. And my answer is not enough, personally.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what I...
Let me respond with a question. What has been the major, if you want to pick one, factor that you feel is the impediment to taking that action? If you had to choose just one, give me the one that you feel is the major impediment.
Fear of failure.
I address that in the seminar just about every week. So this is something I go over and over again. And here's the great thing that you'll see. Should you decide to take the How to Become the True Media seminar, whether this year or another year, I just want to address this because that's so important, because that's one of the things that holds so many people back, right? And I like calls like this, and I'll let you continue your point in a moment. But I love hearing, just be honest, say the thing that you feel is the major thing that has been preventing you from doing it. And that's a huge one for most people, right? In the seminar, you will see me fail over and over. You'll see me screw something up, get something wrong. Something will break. I will not be able to do something that I want to show you. And then you'll see how I react to it. I may get a little perturbed at first. I'll put that down. I'll keep going with it. I'll look for the logical solution, and I'll keep trying things until I make what I want to happen. Just like it is with any other life skill, any other endeavor in the world. If you let the fear of doing it wrong and messing something up hold you back from ever begin doing it, there is no learning. It's impossible. That you're dead from inception. You're dead from Jump Street. But if you take the attitude, if I fail, I've been taught something in the process. And I've learned something. I've learned what not to do. I've learned how I can improve something by, here's a way that didn't quite work out. And then you refine that method, and you enhance the method, and you maybe try something a little bit different until you get something that does work for you. This is a life skill lesson that we teach and go over in the seminar. Again, I just want to reemphasize, the seminar is not just about technology. Is it primarily about technology? Yeah, sure it is. But it is a life skill seminar that teaches these very things and addresses these very things for the students who are potential media creators in the future. And this is one of the things psychologically that we go over just about every week in the course. It's actually really one of the tenets is, failure is a teacher, and you can't be afraid of failure. That's what persistence is all about. Building the characteristic, the quality inwardly of I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. is about not being afraid, or not even not being afraid to fail, pushing through the fear of failure to do, so that you even learn from a mistake or a failure. And then you look back on it and you're like, wow, that's not such a bad thing that I failed in that regard, because look at the knowledge that I gained in the process. And that, I hope that life skill lesson has come through for people who have attended the How to Become the True Media seminar in the past, and hopefully that will continue to be something that students learn and really garner as a skill set for themselves to put under their belt for their future endeavors in the seminar this year and in coming years. So thank you for that honesty, and you can go ahead and continue your point.
No, I agree with you 150%. So I'm on a path. I still have some shadow work to do, but what I've done in the last year and a half, I was employed by Big Pharma for 26 years. I'm a scientist. I'm a toxicologist, one of actually the manufacturers of one of the ridiculous COVID vaccines.
Wow.
And at one point last year, they came to me and said, we have to take the vaccine in order to be employed. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And I stood up to Big Pharma and they fired me, and I don't care. Haven't cared since, haven't looked back. During COVID, my kids were being schooled online, and it gave me a very good understanding at the crap that they're being taught by so-called teachers within the indoctrination camps. So, did some shadow work there, pulled them out of the school system. I've been homeschooling for 2 years now. I've been teaching the trivium. I'm teaching them Latin, teaching them Greek.
Excellent.
They are 11 and 9. They listen to you as well. I don't candy coat anything with my kids. I tell them what's going on. I'm trying to teach them discernment, and they mostly enjoy your vomit puppet, I have to say. And we miss the vomit puppet. And what else have I been doing? I used to live in a city, in a subdivision. My husband and I said, enough with this insanity. We moved out to the country. We bought a 50-acre property. We're homesteading. And little by little, I'm trying to...
That's a lot of transformation in a short amount of time, I'll tell you. That's very encouraging, though.
I've been doing a lot of shadow work, but I'm not 100% there. There's still some things to finish off. But I'm on a path, and my calling, as far as what I think I can contribute to this effort to save humanity, is my concern really is about children and how they are captured at such a young age.
Yes.
To believe in a world that really doesn't exist. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about that, and I'm in a place right now on a property. There's a lot of land around me, and I keep thinking about creating a school where we classically teach kids and we teach them the trivium. And we go back to basics, back to what the ancient civilizations taught their scholars and the greatest thinkers of our times.
Right.
And that really is my motivation. And I think that's the best way I can contribute to this effort. I've been doing it as best I can as a homeschool mom for 2 years with my 2 kids. I live in a community where there are a lot of avid homeschoolers. And I think I'd like to do something for our children as best as I can.
I think if you could bring,
I just wanted your thoughts.
Yeah, if you could bring the resources together to do something like that and actually manifest it, I don't think there's any loftier goal. I don't think there's any more worthy pursuit than to try to teach the future generations the right way to think. The methods of how to think, not what to think, but actually how to discern truth and understand what's really taking place within them and around them. Enhancing consciousness like that through the young is probably one of the best endeavors that anyone could set out to do. So if you have that those type of resources to build an actual manifested result like that, I think that's an extremely worthy pursuit.
Thank you. I just want to know your thoughts. I'm in Canada, so if there are any other Canadians listening, I'm in Kawartha Lakes, Ontario, and this is I really believe in this, and my kids are riling around me and want to help me with this, and I've left my pharmaceutical BS behind, and it's completely liberating, and I just want to devote my life to teaching children the things that they've never been taught, and hopefully, because that really tugs at my heartstrings the most. And I know you were getting very emotional a few weeks back about the legacy that we leave behind for our children, and that's all I think about, Mark.
That's right.
And really, that's what drives me to making these decisions of detachment, of quitting my job, of doing all of the things that I've been doing. As I look at my children,
that's right,
and I think, what am I leaving behind for them? And do I want them to come to me at a time when there's no going back and say, Mom, what did you do to help us? What did you do? You have all this knowledge. You know, you're telling us all of these things, but you sat back and watched it all go to shit.
How many people are letting that happen? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is we cannot allow that on our watch, you know, because that is where it will go. And we will be leaving a future to children that will be unlivable. And, you know, that's why I'm saying I really, you know, respect your pursuit to try to make that the main effort. And I'm really glad to hear that your own children are very much behind that effort and are excited about it. That's an encouraging thing as well. That's what we have to do is, you know, inspire children to be excited about real learning, you know, as opposed to what the existing indoctrination system laughingly calls learning, calls education, which it's really nothing whatsoever to do with. So I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you so much, Rosanna. A really great call, and I wish you the best of success with that.
Thank you, Mark, and all success to you. And thanks again for everything you're doing to enlighten all of us. And I know it's really hard, and I know it's tough. We all have our tough days, but you are getting through. You are getting through. Just keep doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks
again. I appreciate
it.
You too. Have a good one. Excellent. Great callers. Let's hear from Kat Waters of One Great Work Network. Kat, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Well, hey, Mark, you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. I'm starting to get the hang of this stuff. You know, so originally when I raise my hand, you know, I have like one idea of what I want to say, but then of course when someone before me, you know, speaks and my sort of question like deviates or comment deviates to something that they said, and you know, I'm really glad the previous, you know, caller spoke about children. And, you know, when you're, you know, because I hear, you know, a lot of that over, you know, maybe like the last decade or so, which just brings me to, you know, have to speak about, you know, child abuse that's literally been just kind of normalized for decades. And, you know, so those healthy parents that look at their kids and say, hey, you know, what am I going to say to my kid when they say, you know, what did you do?
Right.
I mean, you know, just ask an abusive parent what they say to their children who, like, you know, right in their own houses, they're just like literally, you know, torturing. And, you know, again, not just parents, but, you know, priests and, you know, just so many abusers out there, you know, polluting, the, you know, children's, you know, health, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know, maybe because, you know, I mean, their physical and psychological health was polluted as well.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to.
I mean, it's all about the cycle of abuse. You know, parents who they themselves weren't raised properly and given the support that they needed from their own parents, then have children and continue the abusive cycle with them. You know, this is why it's so important to learn how to think. That step of initiation is so important in learning the trivium, in learning how to exercise true discernment over what is true versus what is fantasy and illusion and mind control. You know, that's one of the biggest aspects of coming out of the whole abusive system is truly understanding how to think through the trivium method. Without that, I don't think we come out of the abuse victim cycle. That's what keeps it turning and keeps it snowballing on itself. You know, that snowball effect that cycle has. If we do truly properly morally educate ourselves, we can help come out of that victim abuse cycle. I mean, this is something that I talked about when I, got into psychopathy and, the whole understanding of the victim abuse cycle from a psychological and spiritual perspective and what factors really break it. There's a million different, modalities of shadow work and healing and, all kinds of ways to help with the process of healing. But, one of the biggest things is you have to right the mind first. You have to put the mind in the correct modalities of thought. Wrong thought leads to wrong action. And that's where most people are stuck. They're stuck in that they can't see the underlying causal factor of the whole thought process has to be changed first. If you're thinking incorrectly, then your actions are going to be led into wrong ways of being in the world and wrong actions toward other people. Again, that's like you said, it starts with the physical body, cleaning up all of that, diet, exercise, basic respect for the body. Then it's mental and psychological and emotional and spiritual ultimately. So, if we have conscious parents, that is the beginning of the breaking of the cycle. Because if the child undoes some of those traumas, heals to an extent, is able to learn those modalities that bring about the cessation of that cycle, then if they have children, they can not perpetuate the cycle with the child. And hopefully more and more adults are doing this, and then they're raising conscious children that'll go on to become conscious parents at some point.
I just wanted to, I always feel like it's a really important point to make, is to also say how it's, it's not just about like abusing children. I just really feel like it's important to stress that anything less than raising someone to their healthy potential, I consider abuse.
It is a form of abuse in and of itself, right?
There's so many people walking around who would definitely say that, no, I had a good childhood, I was not abused. They don't even think to even question, but they weren't really raised to their full, I talk about Abraham Maslow and self-actualization all the time. And, so, right, like that's why I kind of even hesitate to use the word abuse anymore, because
they weren't given the proper tool sets that they needed to truly make sense of what's going on within themselves or what's going on around them. If you don't provide the type of nurturing to actually provide the tool sets for a child, you are basically throwing them into the wilderness with no implements. You're throwing them naked into the wilderness, basically. And no parent would do that to their child. You wouldn't strip your child of everything, strip them naked, and throw them into the woods, right? This is what parents are doing with their children, proverbially, in the world. They're not equipping them with anything, and they're throwing them to the lions. They're throwing them directly into the wilderness. If that's not a form of abuse, I don't know what is, And this is the problem. The problem is that non-conscious parenting brings other non-conscious adults into the world. It manifests more non-conscious adults. Then what do you have? You have another generation of children that are being not raised. They're being raised improperly. They're not being given the tool sets that they need. They're being thrown naked into the wilderness, and then the cycle repeats itself.
You're being extracted from, like, the exact opposite of raising.
That's right.
I hate, I wanted to just kind of make this one other point before I hung up, if that's okay, because, I just want people to think about, like, we just passed, June 8th was the 56th anniversary of the attack on the USS Liberty, and I think it's like a really important story that a lot of people are not aware of, and to watch sacrificingliberty.com, because, and I think it's an important story because it speaks, a lot to order following, which,
right.
you speak about often. And and it really does show who's running the sick evil people that are running
conducting
things,
these false flags, right?
And how bad that things have gotten, and how much momentum that these evil,
how brazen they've become because we haven't exposed what they've done and stopped them. Then now they're brazen. Yeah,
like USS Liberty was like the 9/11 of 1967,
right?
And it's just really, really important. For the fitness to be fit, and sorry, I'm just going to say this last thing and then I'm going to stop. We said it before that you can't be physically healthy if you're not mentally healthy.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to build true mental health if you abuse the body as well. That's why general fitness, health, nutrition, exercise is all part. Self-defense, it's all part of it. If that's the fifth principle of occult initiation, is activate the physical body. You're going to need it. Kat, as always, thank you. Brilliant points that you always bring up. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
You got it. Great calls so far. Let's continue it. Let's hear from Glenn. Glenn, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome. Glenn, go ahead and unmute your microphone with the microphone icon. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Okay, so I think that the main issue stems to the roots. And the roots are when most people are born, we're initiated into the pain equals pleasure dynamic. What does that look like? You're in your mother's womb for 9 months and you have an umbilical cord attached to your placenta, and the placenta has your oxygen and your food. First thing that happens, snip.
Right.
And then you put on your mother's chest and you feel pain from the disconnection from your food source, and then you feel pleasure on the mother's chest. Then every man is born with a sword and a shield. We have a sword and a shield. And well, if you're circumcised, that shield has been taken away from you. So you're
Look at the
entering
trauma
into the pain
we do to children.
It's a difficult situation to reverse.
Look at the trauma that hospitals do to children right at the birthing process to put them into a state of immediate trauma and pain. These things should never be done that you're talking about, and this is the vast bulk of human society. Those who aren't treated like that at birth, it's a rare exception to the rule. So yeah, great points that you're bringing up. I know a lot of people have done a lot of extensive work on these physical traumas at birth, which is very important to understand what that leads to psychologically, and then what we do to try to shield ourselves from the psychological trauma that that's still there, that never really truly goes away from that birth trauma. So very, very good points that you bring up there. Anything you want to add to that?
Do you have any advice for people to deal with this? Because the main issue is the golden age of enlightenment is available for all of us. But the fact is, most of us don't love ourselves. So it's this self-loathing that creates this vicious cycle of not having the golden age of enlightenment available to everybody. People get tattoos and piercings. It's painful.
If you are familiar,
but they're getting some type of pleasure from it.
With my work on what I referred to as the tree of evil, I go through and trace backward all of the things that leads to this type of self-loathing. And ultimately, it all comes down to some form of parental abandonment issue. Now, think about it, right? The parent not being conscious enough to recognize that that's trauma for the child is a form of failure and abandonment as a parent. It's not physical abandonment, but it's the abandonment of the type of protection that a parent that is conscious and truly protective of their child should be providing for their child. So subconsciously, you might not be thinking of this at a conscious level. That's a form of parental abandonment, and the subconscious mind sees it as such, even if it's not expressed like that at the conscious level. So the answer is you have to actually go into the type of shadow work that is going to help build true self-respect. And again, I've talked about some of those methods in former shows, namely the method of sitting quietly with the self and analyzing traumas like that, and analyzing the characteristics and aspects of the personality that one is most uncomfortable with, and then tracing it back to root cause, and then being with that and slowly working through that pain and discomfort. And all of us have them. None of us are free of these types of traumas. And the shadow work techniques to accept and deal with it. You're never going to purge it, right? We have to stop thinking of it as, well, I got rid of that once and for all and that's gone forever. It doesn't work like that. Okay? It is part of the recognition of its presence, but not letting it lead your future actions. It's saying, yes, this occurred, and full acceptance that it occurred, and full acceptance of the failure that allowed it to occur, right? In the form of that parental abandonment or lack of protection, however you want to look at that parent-child dynamic. Whatever you want to refer to it as. You could call it the abuse victim cycle. You can call it negligence. You can call it lack of conscious parenting. You could call it, lack of the defense of the child. You could call it an abandonment issue in general. There's a million different psychological names you could apply to it. It's all the same thing. It's an aspect of failure of what the parent should actually be providing to the child. Right? Which is, again, why conscious parenting is one of the most important things anybody can do. So once you understand that, it works like the understanding of what astrotheology is to religion. You're getting at the underlying support factor for it, right? If I knew what astrotheology was, I might have never become a Satanist. I might have looked at religion in a whole different light, in a whole different understanding, and said, oh, wow, so that's what that is. And this stems way out from the ancient world, from their view of the cosmos, their entire cosmology. And then they embedded that into belief systems that became the world religions that came out of these ancient cults. And then I would have went, wow, with that understanding in hand, I don't have to see this in a form of so much anger and angst and hatred, because pretty much everybody got fooled, right? And they just don't realize it yet. I didn't have that knowledge. Well, it's the same thing with parental abandonment issues being that root cause. That going down to what you're talking about, these traumas, their underlying root cause is the unconsciousness of the parent that leads to a form of failure, neglect / abandonment. Okay, again, different psychological terms. It doesn't mean, abandonment doesn't mean you're absent physically. It means you are absent for a nurturing aspect that the child required, but you didn't live up to it. You failed at that as a parent. When the person goes through the shadow work to bring from the subconscious level that trauma up to the conscious level, they're doing the work not to purge that trauma. Once again, you're never going to purge it completely, right? This is like saying, I'm going to get rid of ego, I'm going to exterminate ego. No, you're not. You got to have the ego, because without the ego, you don't know to take this cup and hold it to your own lips, right? The ego is a necessary function. Well, the trauma is never going to be completely gone, but it can be mitigated and dealt with to the point where it no longer controls the individual, where the individual exercises control over it and doesn't let it control them. And that is the kind of healing that we have to aspire to, so that we can actually do what's required. We could actually bring the conditions that we say we want into manifestation without letting these traumas stop us from doing the things that are the requirement to build a society that's based in freedom. It's not a magical solution where I'm promising to anybody, or anybody who understands these techniques is promising to everybody, you're going to be perfectly okay for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, but that's not a realistic expectation of what shadow work does, okay? From a pragmatic point of view, It works with and brings the trauma to a level of consciousness that you confront and deal with it so you can move on, not let it control you, and do what you need to do in life. That is what real shadow work provides. So go back and check out some of the podcasts that I did on both the abuse victim cycle, parental abandonment, and and definitely the idea of what I called the tree of evil, seeing why people behave the way they behave, and then getting down to the psychological roots of it, which is parental abandonment. And if you have that knowledge in hand, I think you'll go very far in your understanding of what's going to be required to do that type of shadow work healing.
Yeah, I've listened to all of your podcasts. I even sent you an email once giving you little tips, like basically people that go to class 1 through 10, the first 10 ones that you've done, you have 10-year-old commercials. So my advice was to help people skip to 10 minutes and 20 seconds, start here, because 10-year-old commercials are kind of difficult to go through when you have so much information. You have at least 500 hours of de-occulting the occult, and it's pure genius. And the one thing I want to just lead with, I love your Decoding the Matrix.
Thank you.
And I would really, really, really appreciate it if you picked other movies that are out there and did the same thing.
That might be a great idea.
Very helpful.
Thank you. That might be a great idea for next season after I cover Unholy Feminine in depth. I might break down some more films allegorically. There's definitely a few I would like to break down. Maybe Hypnotic, which was about mind control and really obscuring people's view of reality and getting them to think what the social engineers want them to think. And another movie that I'm very impressed with that I've seen recently called The Black Demon, which is about all the justifications that we offer for immoral behavior and continuing to do abusive things in our society for a carrot that's dangled on a stick before us. So that's a great suggestion, Glenn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you could pick somebody and do a Siskel and Ebert thing, and I think that you will get so much more viewership that way and be respected for really what you're doing.
Cool.
And I think it's a good way to break into the market a little stronger.
Definitely, because I think it also attracts people, from the whole movie circuit that like the breakdown and analysis of films. Believe it or not,
you did a great job.
Yeah, my Matrix breakdown is my most watched video ever. That's the most
Okay,
viewed
you got to
video
go
ever.
that route.
Yep.
I mean, you're gonna teach more people with that type of carrot than anything else you've done. You already have the statistical analysis.
Sure.
The algorithm's there for you.
Right. Absolutely. Great.
And I would be very happy to watch movies with you breaking it down.
Cool. Great suggestion.
Inception, come on, all these great movies,
Yeah,
You're
allegory
really
is a powerful, powerful way to put ideas into society's mindset. And it could happen for the negative as well. But there's a lot of really good positive ones out there if they're properly decoded. So thank you for the suggestion, Glenn. I'll probably take you up on it starting next season.
Okay, listen, I love the work you're doing. Keep the power. And just let's get the viewership and the memberships up, so more people are taught by your genius.
I hope to make that happen. Thank you so much for the call.
There's no hope. You're going to do it. Speak it into existence.
You got it. Have a great one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Excellent. All right, let's hear from Conrad. Conrad, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
So, I'm into the cherry pickers. I'm just going to shoot from the hip.
Go right ahead.
So I've been doing a lot of work about this. It's half measures, it's half knowledge. There's a whole lot of cherry pickers out there. Just to give a few examples,
what are the ones that you see people really wanting to cherry pick? I'm curious to this.
So the New Age, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Enki being the good guy. Enki wanting to be the enlightenment of humanity and all this stuff. Of course, these people don't ever talk about the negative.
The story generally goes like that. When you look into these ancient stories of the Anunnaki, it definitely attempts to portray the one brother as, more beneficent. Not so sure that is the case, but yes, continue.
Yeah, I don't discount that, but of course, this whole thing stems from not wanting to kill the masters, not fighting it back against the tyranny and slavery. That's a psychological thing lying behind it.
Yeah,
and then you got the conservative truthers,
Oh boy, talk about cherry picking.
You got these guys.
that are
Talk about cherry
into
picking,
the
exactly.
order followers, supporting the order followers, the thin blue line, etc. Man, I mean, you want to talk about cherry picking, you know?
You explain it all to them, and they tell you they get it, and then they just can't get over the hump. They think the military and police is honorable.
Isn't
and
it
you just can't
amazing
get through to
that
them.
people like that would actually think that I'm some kind of a leftist, and then the leftist community thinks I'm a far right-winger? It's because they're both cherry-picking things. They hear me say things they completely disagree with, so I must be the opposite. I must either be a commie or I must be a Trump supporter, don't you know? You know, like I said,
That's
it's
right.
such a unidimensional, childish view of existence that how anybody can still think like that and consider themselves an adult in the year 2023 is beyond my imagination. That is how little of actual brain power that you have to decode reality and really see what's going on in this life, that you're still thinking, and people are still thinking in those unidimensional terms. It's such a naive mindset, and the masters of reality, the masters of our world, the social engineers, look at people like that, like you think you're going to beat us at our 12-dimensional game of chess that we're playing when you don't know what a checker piece looks like. That's how unsophisticated your mindset is, you know?
Yeah, and the
It's
reason it's so
painful.
simplistic is because they have a soul tie with an ideology or an institution, right? So it's just like their
That's right.
religious programming takes over.
That's right.
Once you hit their area of personal attachment.
That's right. I love the idea, man. Listen, we have to definitely get you onto One Great Work Network. It's been too long. I've been telling you I'm going to do that. I want to onboard you in the coming week or so, and I'm going to make that happen. Take the time to actually do it because you're definitely somebody that, I'm definitely impressed with the work that you're doing, and I think you bring up things that are very, very, very on point for people to consider. So let's talk this week, and I'll do the work involved to onboard you onto the network, all right?
Sure thing. Thank you, Mark. And no rush. I'll be here. I got plenty of time, so I'll be doing the work regardless, you know?
Listen, let me flesh that out just a little bit more, right? You're talking about psychological attachment to an identity and an institution. Think about how powerfully important that is to understand. It means if this goes against the identity makeup of the individual that they've chosen for themselves, they're basically saying, I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to consider it. I don't want to look into any aspect of that, let alone the thought that it might be true and it might have a lot of potential power over my life and over my freedom. And these people are becoming their own worst enemy because they won't let go of a thought. Think about that. You know, I mean, I'd like you to elaborate on that and get more of your take on it because I think the point is profound and I think more people really have to understand this aspect of mind control.
Well, I actually see it very closely to what the previous callers were talking about, and it goes back to the child and even the trauma at birth, because ultimately that's what it is. It's we get so attached to the idea because there's some kind of void or emptiness within us, and it's the same thing with these men. They either go towards the left brain solution or the right brain solution when it comes to the unholy feminine,
right?
Because they're afraid of rejection, right? This is
Right.
the whole root. So either they go into being the deballed, soft men on the right-hand side,
That the
wanting
social
to be
engineers
kind
are
of,
conditioning females to, basically desire, or yes, they go
Right.
to the left brain approach of, all women
Which
are the problem. It's their nature that's the problem, and then let's just try to use them as whatever kind of a resource we can. And there's zero healing in that. There's zero movement forward in consciousness in that. And they
Yes,
become
that
the
false alpha male
stereotypical
posturing.
toxic, male consciousness. There is such a thing. It's not what, leftists want you to believe is toxic masculinity. When it's real masculinity, it's very positive. The problem is there is an aspect of that, and it's largely a result and blowback from the toxic feminine or the unholy feminine of neo-feminism and epi-eugenics that's promulgated by these social engineers in our culture. Absolutely. You've definitely seen that dynamic very clearly there, Conrad. I appreciate that analysis and breakdown, and I really hope to get more people to really grasp that with next year's shows that I'm going to do on this topic. So thank you so much for the call, my friend, and let's talk this week.
Thank you.
You got it. Very excellent food for thought there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's just about all the time that we have for this edition of What on Earth is Happening. The title card, the title graphic is going to come down any second. So remember, government is slavery. And we will continue with more questions and clarifications for a call-in show next week here on the show for the last show of the season of 2023. Hope to see you next week. Remember, folks, government is slavery. Thank you. You've been watching What on Earth is Happening. We'll see you right here next week.